What is going on? This is Warships. I am Zedmont, like the creator boost Zedmont. We are going to jump in and talk about season 68. It has been an absolute banger. It is a complete and utter doozy, and things are just warming up. So, for starters, people in Canada and the US pushing for rank 15. Those of us that slept in, the only way you could get rocket choppas and have a chance at gold was making it to rank 15 before that next chest came out. So I managed to get in with like an hour and a half left using clone riflemen only, and then as soon as that next chest came out, every single person got rocket choppas. So getting in was a little bit important. Managed to get in, and I managed to claim this chest in gold. Only 2 extra keys, but the number of times that I've been 2 keys short has been a lot of times. So now we're going to quickly talk about the tech tree and where it's going to start to evolve or devolve or whatever the heck word you want to say. So tick 4 flares are not the right choice. If you still have tick 3s, you probably want to stick with it. They are easier to deal with in many ways and harder in other ways. So if you have tick 3 flares, you drop your troops, then you drop your flare, and off you go. If you have tick 4 flares, you drop your flare, then you drop your troops, and then you're tapping your foot waiting for that flare to expire. So I went 4. It works for me, but probably should have stayed 3 because it's a little bit more flexible. That right there, those deployable turrets, adding troop damage to them does work. And this is the first season where deployable turrets do get the troop damage, which is why this right here was super, super appealing. But I did switch. I spent the diamonds. I switched from troop damage to gunboat energy. I'll talk about that more in a second. But otherwise, everyone kind of has the same tree. Unless you're one of those people like me that went that top path and completely and utterly regret it. I do two tech trees every season, and I went the top path knowing it was going to be terrible. Some of you might have thought it was going to be good, thinking you're going to have snipers and green mines and troop health. Well, none of those things really help all that much. So if you do not have rocket choppas left, don't go get rocket launchers. Don't go get a second sky shield. Don't go get cryo tanks or mechs. Just move forwards, get through the boom cannons, and get those rocket choppas. Now, there have been some players who have been getting Rudy as well, and you're going to win a little bit with Rudy, and then you're going to run into players who have 5 engine rooms. So I'm holding out for 5. Maybe you're going for Rudy, but I am definitely holding out for 5. Then we can come back if we need to and get a hero. You might get 1 extra rank with Rudy. Then you're just going to run into the engine room problem, though. So with the troop damage, I was getting like 3-minute, 4-second times fairly consistently. I was doing hits something like this, where you send like 2 boats of rocket choppas to like with like some rifles to the back, and then you drop 2 over here and 2 over here, and I was getting like 3-minute, 2-second times, and that was enough to get into gold for the first bit, and then it just fell flat. You can see here Rubik's Cube 314. People are throwing down 316s consistently. I, on the other hand, am not. So lots and lots of mistakes by me, and switching to GBE means that you don't have to worry about clones anymore. It is just all rocket choppas all the time, and for me, it just makes it way easier. It's simpler. You don't have you're just dropping those beautiful deployable turrets. I've never thought I would say deployable turrets are great in my life, but they have been pretty good. And you just need to know that every base has been cracked at this point. Maybe by tomorrow there'll be a new base. Do check my account. I'm sitting at global 188. I think I was at like 140 earlier or something like that. Up and down, in and out of gold. And you see like 310. Like 310 is a decent time. But watch my attack here. And by the way, flaring a building, way better if you have tick 4. Because that means that your troops at the back, you don't have to wait for that flare to expire. That flare is now gone. And watch this. Late on that. And then over here, I'm just late on everything. So losing rocket choppas, I wish I could see the number of troops I lost. It is a lot. but still picking up wins. And some of you out there who have only used clone riflemen are like, what are you talking about, Zed? 3 minutes, 6 seconds is crazy fast. Well, unfortunately, no, it's not. And you see here, watch that flare. Now we're just stuck, and these rocket choppas are heading in the wrong direction, and I managed to manage it pretty well. And then I dropped those deployable turrets pretty well, but just not getting decent splits yet and screwing things up a little tiny bit at a time. And you have to be so perfect against some of these players. And I gotta say, Zendo is an absolute beast of a player, and we both crapped the bed on this hit. So at the end of my hit, I threw a flare about 4 times and it didn't register, and then his hit, his troops just refused to go where he wanted to. You see that? That rocket chopper there? Yes, the deployable turret was out, but it hadn't bounced yet. Just like critters, they have to bounce before they register, and as a result, you end up getting rocket choppas shot down. And quick note that all of the rocket choppas are now facing forwards, which is kind of nice. It seems like they fixed that bug from past seasons. And then, see how I didn't flare for the longest time there? And then I had attacked early. I think he ended up flaring, but I think his deployable turret hit my sky shield or something like that. Both of us are better players than that, and we both screwed up, and so it was kind of nice to not see that right there. Because he hit that shield there, we ended up tying. So I threw a flare that didn't register. He threw a turret that didn't register. Shout out to Zendo. GG, bro. Sorry, I have a hard time saying bro. Again, flaring back there, getting that turret out. All of the rocket choppas clearing from this side, and then this person thought they were cute with that sky shield, but our troops just automatically target that over the gap. And notice that our turret is out of the way from the flamethrowers and things. We don't care about flamethrowers. All we care is about distracting the boom cannons. So early season, day 1, you were using turrets to get like this engine room or maybe this one, and then running your troops up, and now the turrets are just there to distract the boom cannons. And speaking of beast hits, Rubik Cube, like this hit is so stressful. It is crazy. I'm going to show it to you in one time simply because if I show it too fast, it's not going to make sense. So here we go. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boats of rocket choppas getting their one turret out to distract all of the boom cannons, and then flaring onto the engine room, which is so ridiculous, and then flaring to the next engine room, and then getting that next turret out before, and those boom cannons have taken down a bunch of rocket choppas, but he does not care. Just early flare, getting the troops out. And this is an important detail here. What I see a lot of people do is they flare here and they get nice and close to that engine room, and then what ends up happening is your troops target this stuff behind the engine room. So you want to flare far from the engine room, and that way your troops will only clear that stuff that's absolutely required, and you end up getting a better time. Even if there's no defenses there, don't flare close to the engine room. You will regret it. And now look how quickly those troops get onto that engine room. Like, I don't think they even clear the mortar. Yeah, they do clear the mortar, but by that point, the engine room is already done. If you see your troops targeting buildings that are behind the engine room underneath the sky shield, it means that you've probably flared too close. So, and this pirate dude, I think I've faced like 3 times, and every time it's an auto win. So don't do a base like this. Even if you have rocket launchers and damage amplifier, it's just an auto win. Now, part of the reason why it's an auto win is because none of these mortars range our rocket choppas, so they act as a buffer. We don't have to throw a flare. We just let those guys farm some gunboat energy as our clone rifles get moving forwards, and then we've got 4 rocket choppas from the left and a bunch from the front, and I did not time it well because I'm about to lose a rocket choppa to that boom cannon. But by this point, we've got turrets out front, we've got clone riflemen up front, and we're just, like, there's no flares, there's no perfect timings here, it's just watching your troops walk through the base. So maybe it's working for them, but that person with the pirate flag name I have faced like 5 times, and they have all of them were in gold, and I don't think I've lost to them yet this season. So don't do that base. And then we're going to finish up. I'm not doing any live hits this video. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. Lots of blabbering, couple demonstrations, and then finishing up against La Tatula or La Lula Tula or whatever the heck it is. And I'm a bit of a coward. Straight up. So we are using a clone rifleman on that boom cannon. Same thing when it's over here. Sometimes I do the same thing. And then if you are not a skilled rocket choppa hitter, I would put myself at like a C+, come from this left-hand side, and then just get back there. I've seen 315s done this way from people doing it well. I am not one of those people. I am just waiting a little bit too late, throwing the turrets a little bit too late, and then we're getting a 312. So personally, I do think the GBE is better. I didn't believe it for a second until I started losing against the GBE players, and troop damage might actually be faster if you're perfect, but GBE just gives a whole bunch more flexibility. And we've got that heavy node coming up. Probably going to, like almost certainly going to unlock the heavy node just to get through to 5 engine rooms. And there are 5 engine rooms. Like, look at this. Using those new buttons. There is a player with a 95% win rate. They have won 57 and lost 1 battle. Like, just like they've basically won the season at this point. Like, it's just bonkers. They have got, what is that, 6 extra rank chests. They are 140 keys ahead. Just bonkers. Alpha Shark, by the way, big shout out there. Alpha Shark absolutely was crushing it. Watch some of his replays, and he was getting 316s basically every hit. So it can be done. You need a little bit of timing and a little bit of practice. And you can see here, like, I am sitting here at 118 battles. I do my best when I'm at like the 30 battle time, but getting those clone rifles definitely exhausted me. Wanted to get 15 and was pretty happy to have gotten it, but sitting rank 11, I was top 10 for quite a while there in Canada. There are only 16 players in gold currently in Canada. Curious what region you're in, how many players are in gold by the time this video pops. Lots of talking in this video, more than usual, but season 68 day 1 was a very, very interesting day, and I don't even like how the rest of the season is going to pan out. I have no idea, but just how crazy day 1 was, just how intense day 1 was. Like, I am on team sleep-in, and I still had an intense day. And watching Mojo, he said he hadn't slept yet, and it was like noon, and he was up at 2 a.m. to start the season or something ridiculous. So hopefully you guys are out there playing well, but also getting out and touching grass or riding a bike or getting in the woods or something, because this season is gonna be a crazy one. So I shall talk to you soon. As always, like, share, subscribe, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Comments make the world go round. I shall talk to you soon. Thank you for coming in. I am Zedmont. Peace.